Okay, we're going to reconvene the Dublin City Council meeting February 23rd, and we'll have the pledge. Amy, would you like to lead us?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, well, we thank everybody for your patience with us. We have a proclamation this evening for National Entrepreneurship Week, which is February 21 through 28, and that's going to be accepted by the deck tenant, Jeff Elder, who is co-founder of Bald Head Creative. And Jeffrey, if you'd like to come forward, I'll present this. We did this once earlier at the deck. Very good. Congratulations again. Thank you. Yeah. So this proclamation for National Entrepreneurship Week, whereas most of the new jobs created throughout the United States in the past decade, do we want to point over here? That'd be fine. Sorry. Most of the new jobs created throughout the United States in the past decade are in large part a result of the creative efforts of entrepreneurs and small businesses. And whereas the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center is home to over 100 startup companies and continues to grow, and whereas a broad coalition of partner organizations in Dublin, the state of Ohio, and throughout the United States, including Tech Columbus, is actively engaged in enhancing entrepreneurial opportunities. And whereas entrepreneurs such as Jeff Elder, co-founder of Bald Head Creative, not only build their businesses in Dublin, but contribute their talents and ideas to help other businesses in the city's thriving small business community. And whereas encouraging youth to be excited about entrepreneurship and working to expand to the knowledge, skills, and attitudes of Dublin's youth and adults to be successful entrepreneurs are crucial to the long-term growth of the city of Dublin, the state of Ohio, and the nation. And whereas National Entrepreneurship Week provides an opportunity to focus on the innovative ways in which entrepreneurship brings together in the core academic, technical, and problem-solving skills essential for the success of future entrepreneurs and workers. Now, therefore, I, Michael H. Keenan, Mayor of Dublin, on behalf of Dublin City Council, do hereby join with our nation in proclaiming February 21 to 28, 2015 as National Entrepreneurship Week in the city of Dublin, and encourage all citizens to celebrate the creativity, contributions, and achievements of entrepreneurs in our community, state, and nation. Congratulations. Yeah.
Well, good evening. I want to just thank the City of Dublin for this privilege, and I think I also would like to thank the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center. We moved in we're going on our second year now, and I really attribute our growth and success to that center. I don't think I would be standing here today without the deck, their support, their encouragement. The people that I've met there have all contributed to the success of Bald Head Creative. And so I really appreciate the City of Dublin and their support for the center and the center as well. And I'd like to thank Chaz for his ownership and just how he runs the deck and just his support as well. So I really think it's a great center. And it wouldn't be possible without the support of the City of Dublin as well. So I think I'm standing here as a success story because of that relationship and that center. So thank you so much for your support and hopefully continued support, and just know that there are amazing things happening at the deck. We're just one story. There's many other stories there. And so it's exciting to be surrounded by other business owners who are doing great things, not only for the city, but just as entrepreneurs as well. So thank you so much for this honor, this privilege. It really is an honor, and please keep supporting the deck, because I think it's well worth it, and I think entrepreneurship is alive and well in the city of Dublin and the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Mr. Elder. Curious what Bald Head Creative is.
So thank you, Jeff. And Rick, we did that presentation, and one of the things that we shared with the DEC folks, and we had a big turnout there, we have something like 87% of our businesses are under,
8 employees or less.
which is an incredible number. If you stop and think about the Cardinals and the Ashlands and the other large businesses we have, we kind of seem to focus on that, but so many of our businesses here are that 8 and under. And I told them at the deck it was a little bit self-serving in as much as we want each and every one of them to be successful and grow from 2, 3, 4-person companies to 200, 500, 1,000-person companies and stay right here in Dublin. So that's the whole goal, and I think we've got a pretty good return so far, Dana.
We do. I think it's great to be able to say we have over 100 startups. I think that's pretty rare for an entrepreneurial center our size and in a community like ours. So we have a great tradition of entrepreneurship, and those folks are carrying that through, and it's just a real honor to support that. So.
I'd say thank you to Chaz out there. I see him out in the audience for all your efforts over there. I know you spend a lot of time and effort on our behalf there, and thank you. Okay, with that will bring us to a special presentation from the Dublin Chamber of Commerce. Do we have a representative from the Chamber?
Actually, I'm going to speak to this, Mayor, members of council. I just wanted to show you a video that was produced in partnership between the City of Dublin and the Dublin Chamber. We've been great partners for a lot of years, just working in support of our business community. As you know, they're one of the largest, I think like the second largest chamber in the state of Ohio, and they have a committee called the Human Resource Executive Council, and they pull together human resource professionals from a lot of our business community, and that business and that council and those HR professionals agreed that among themselves that they needed somewhat of a recruiting video, so that when they were out recruiting employees or workforce for their companies, they wanted to be able to show them and tell them a little bit about Dublin. So the purpose of this video was to do that, and we did that in production with them, and I just wanted to show you this video tonight. It's just a couple minutes long.
Very good.
I would describe Dublin, Ohio as a unique place. It's a unique place to live, it's a unique place to work, a very unique place to raise a family.
Great school district, a lot of great neighborhoods. There's also a lot of great employment here in Dublin.
It's a great community. It's nice and clean and safe. Plenty of fun activities to do.
Easily accessible to a lot of things in the area.
Community that's been known as a suburban hotbed and one of the best communities in the country. One of the most intelligent communities in the country.
It really is an attractive point for people to relocate here.
So I think Dublin as a whole is a great means for recruiting talent. People that move here from different cities from around the country, they see not only a great workplace with a great environment, they see very low crime, they see great school systems, but more importantly, that sense of community.
Dublin may be surprising to a lot of people that maybe aren't familiar with Dublin or haven't lived here before. They may not realize the size and scale of some of the companies and businesses that are here in Dublin. There's 3,000 businesses located in Dublin, as well as some large companies like Wendy's, Cardinal Health that are based here. What does that mean? It means it's got a very lively economic community that's thriving, and it's enjoyable to live here. I also enjoy the people that we get to interact with on a daily basis.
I think Dublin is a great place to do business because you've got a great base of employees here. So you have Ohio State, you have a lot of people who are educated, who are interested in staying in Central Ohio, and Dublin has made itself kind of a destination for employers. There's been a lot of growth, a lot of focus on doing things in Dublin to make the city more attractive to employees, so that even if they live in German Village or in the short north, that they'll maybe linger in Dublin after hours. They'll go grab a drink, they'll go have dinner. So it's less of a commute in and out suburb, it's more of a place where you can hang out a bit.
We're a very creative company, and it really helps when we're interviewing people. This is a draw to get young and talented people hired in here. They like the idea that they can walk to the different bars and restaurants and shops around here and take a nice little break at lunch, or even hang out after work a lot of times.
Relocating to Dublin, it was great for me. It's a very welcoming community. It's very family friendly, it's safe, it's clean. I love the Irish Festival. I live within walking distance from that, so it's a great draw for my friends who don't live in Dublin. They always want to come and, park at my place and we walk down together. That's something that people from all across Columbus come into Dublin for, and I think that's a great time for the city to showcase itself and show everything that it has to offer. St. Patrick's Day is also a big thing here in Dublin. There's a big parade, and whether you're Irish or not, people really love to show their Irish spirit on St. Patrick's Day.
Obviously, being a resident of Dublin, and I've got kids, and so we're always looking for things to do and be active in the community, and also representing Cardinal Health when we're talking about either new employees or people that have recently relocated here. They're asking, how can I get involved in the community? What are the things to do? Some of the things that are even on a national scale, certainly having Muirfield Village Country Club here, having the President's Cup being held here, having the Memorial Tournament here every single year puts us on a national scale. One of the other major events that they have on a yearly basis is the 4th of July activities that they have, Independence Day. They've had national acts such as Earth, Wind & Fire, Rick Springfield. Those are some of the acts that they're able to bring and locate here.
There's a lot of parks here. One of the things I enjoyed as a kid were the bike paths, and I get to use those all the time. There's plenty of bike paths for you to go through the whole city.
In Columbus, we laugh. Everything is 20 minutes away. So you can be up in Dublin, and you can be downtown in 20 minutes where you've got the opera, the baseball, and an NHL hockey team, all types of things. And I think you've got the right mix of, you can live in a community with great schools, but you have access to this downtown area, and it's not hard to do.
From a diversity of housing perspective, I can tell you that there are many different options here in Dublin. There are very cost-effective apartments, there's condominiums, there's entry-level homes, as well as your next level home in your life, depending on where you're at. I think what's attractive to us here is if you look at the cost of ownership of your house versus the cost of actually living in the community, and you compare it to all the amenities and all the upside of living in Dublin, there really is no comparison. Dublin really is head and shoulders above the rest.
As my role here, my job here at Cardinal Health recruiting talent, one of the first questions I have from candidates that we're looking at is, what are the schools like? What are the school system like? And I'm always happy and proud to talk about the schools in Dublin because they do rank obviously extremely high in the state of Ohio, if not nationally. And so when they look at a national comparison, it's really easy for those parents to make a decision to move here.
Before we were here, we lived in Seattle, and before that, New York. So I think when you think about a big city, you think, oh, I'll have access to all these things, but you don't always think about it's hard and there's traffic and it's expensive and there's nowhere to park. I think with Dublin, it's easy here. You can park, it's easy to get around, things are very accessible. So I think our quality of life here in Central Ohio, working in Dublin, has been fantastic.
For anybody considering Dublin to call their home or the place of employment, I can say this. Dublin is a very unique place. It's a place where somebody can call home. It's very safe, it's got outstanding schools, and more importantly, we are constantly looking for progressive, innovative minds to work in public services, technology, production environments, manufacturing. Dublin is a very unique city that is not tethered to one specific industry. If you come to Dublin, you're going to find a very diverse economic area within our city and lots of opportunities for growth.
Well, thanks for letting us show that, and I just a quick shout out to John, Joe, and Greg of Shared Vision for putting that together for us, and again in cooperation with the Chamber. So.
Very good. As always, a very nice job. John?
I just want to say I think that was one of the best promotional pieces I've seen so far in the city. I think he did an excellent job in the film clips with the voiceovers. It moved pretty snappy, hit the highlights, very positive. Did a great job.
It'd be
Good
nice to
promotional
pass that
piece.
along.
We got to use that for corporate
Yeah,
recruitment.
it really could be used for a lot of different things for corporate recruiting too,
Yeah.
and not just the talent recruiting. So,
Well done.
thanks.
Thank you, Dana. Okay, that brings us to the citizens' comment portion of our agenda, and I see Mr. Maurer has signed up. Mr. Maurer?
Yes, I had something to say, but I realized that I need to think it out a little better to make it more clear and persuasive.
Very good.
I'll add this, though, that since I'm probably some of the visibility here, I acquired yesterday a live-in companion at my house. Now, to kill any rumors before they get started, the companion is not a person or a human being. I meet enough of them in the course of a week. The companion is a very smart cat.
All right. We'll look forward to the next meeting, Mr. Maurer. Thank you. We have a group, a Shenyang group, coming forward here, and we have an Arjin Shen and a Rose Sheng that are presenting on behalf of the Shenyang group. Welcome. You want to state your name and address for the record, please?
Okay, thank you very much for having us tonight. My name's Rose Zhang, and this is Arjin Chen, and we're both school teachers, and I teach in Worthington, and she teaches Chinese. I teach ESL.
Could we have just an address where you live?
We both live in Dublin, and I live off Brent and Avery, Shannon Glen neighborhood, and she lives.
And do you need a specific address, or we'll get it? Okay. Carry on. Thank you.
Okay. We're glad that we're coming here tonight to present Shenyun, the traditional classical, the best classical Chinese dance and music company in the world. And they are based in New York, and they tour around the world every year with brand new shows. And first off, we're going to play a very short clip of their trailer for 2015, please.
Inspired by an ancient culture, mesmerizing, vigorous physicality, beautiful, a nimble mastery. 5,000 years of Chinese music and dance. Shenyun presents authentic Chinese culture. Experience the divine. Experience Shenyun. For tour dates and tickets, please visit shenyun.com.
Very quick, and I'm going to, if you have questions, just stop me anytime, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. They're based in New York, as I said, and their mission is to revive the 5,000-year-old genuine Chinese classical civilization. So that's why they tour around the world every year, bringing brand new shows, because China is so old, 5,000 years old. And China is also very diverse, and there are 56 ethnic groups in China. And by the way, lots of Chinese like to live in Dublin. So, so you probably, if you go to schools, you will see lots of, Chinese-looking people like me. And so we love Dublin. So, but we also like the multicultural, very friendly environment in Dublin. So that's why most Chinese find it very nice to live here. And Shenyun does a very great job presenting this traditional classical Chinese civilization, and through singing and dancing. And they use modern technology like the digital backdrops, and to bring the 5,000-year-old civilization alive to us on the stage. They also use hand-sewn costumes. If you look at the pictures, and all those costumes are handmade, and they're uniquely designed and made for each year. So the backdrops and the costumes with the live orchestra, and the orchestra is very unique as well. It combines a full Western orchestra with classical Chinese instruments playing the leading melody. So their instruments, some of them are thousands of years old themselves. For example, there's a 2-string violin. It's called erhu. Er means two, and it plays that unique sound, which is 4,000 years old. So only in the ancient time, only the emperors got to hear them. But now Shenyun brings it to everybody on the stage for everyone who loves to to watch that show. So you get to hear that, and also they. It feels like if you're sitting there in the audience, it feels like that they take us on a journey to thousands of years old civilization back, So it's a very unique show. And they're coming, Shenyun coming to us on March 11th and 12th at Ohio Theater. So, okay, I think my time is up, so I'll be happy to answer questions if you have any. We'll be here. Thank you very much for having us tonight.
Well, thank you.
And Happy Chinese New Year.
Happy Chinese New Year.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting video, so thank you. I guess we've got a few more years to go. Bragging on Dublin being 200 years old, we're a little short, but we're working on it. So we'll get there. That brings us to the consent agenda. Any council member have any item they'd like to remove? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the actions for the 6 items that are listed?
So approved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Ann?
Yes.
Mr. Lecklider?
Yes.
Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
Mayor Keenan?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Vice Mayor Gerber?
Yes.
And we have second readings, ordinance 10-15.
Authorizing provision of certain incentives to Garden City Group, Inc. to induce it to retain an office and associated operations and workforce within the city, and authorizing execution of an economic development agreement.
Ms. Gilger?
Good evening. To give you a slight update from first reading, I know we had to correct a couple inaccuracies in the agreement. We've also been working with the company because a couple of additional changes have occurred. Number one, the initial lease term that the company was looking to pursue has changed, and this was really a business decision. So therefore, our offer to them also was modified. So just to give you the changes, their lease term is now a 3-year lease. So we have reduced our incentive to a 2-year offer for a 12% performance incentive. What we have done, though, is in order to entice them to renew that lease at the end of 3 years, we've put the remainder of our original incentive in place, but tied to the renewal of their lease at the end of that 3rd year. So it's basically a bonus for renewing for 3 years, at the end of the 3 years for an additional 5, which would tie them to the facility for 8 years. So the only thing that has been reduced is the initial $10,000 grant. That is no longer in this offer. So over the entire course of this, they are capped at $41,500. Their job commitments have not changed, just the terms of the lease, and therefore the terms of our offer as far as years has changed. So I can answer any questions about those changes, but we also have a representative from the company here as well. So are there changes on the terms for me?
Questions on the terms, council? Tim?
I didn't have a question regarding the terms, but I was wondering if you could tell us the location?
Yes, they would be staying put. They're currently on Blazer Parkway at 5151.
Thank you.
You want to make the introduction of?
Sure. We have Brian Burke here this evening. He is the Vice President of Operations, and I'll invite him up to the guest podium to say a few words about the company and their renewal in Dublin.
Very good. Welcome. State your name and address.
Brian Burke, representing the Garden City Group, 5151 Blazer Parkway.
Thank you.
So what's not in the background on the memo is we are a wholly owned subsidiary of Crawford & Company, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. They have the final say on our lease agreement. They turned it to a 3-year lease. Garden City Group as a whole, we love Dublin. While we shopped around, looked at other locations in Ohio, it's a lot easier to stay in a place as opposed to moving, and we've been very happy here. And I think it touched in here, we changed our structure of hiring. At some point from 2010 forward, we had up to 800 people in our office through temporary agencies, where now we're bringing them through the company as a whole. So I think we'll easily meet our incentives and look forward to hopefully business decisions being granted, staying post our 3-year lease.
Very good. Council, any other questions? No? Okay. Mr. Maurer, I see you've signed up to talk about this ordinance.
Yeah, I know at the proper point historically, the function of this Garden City Group was spelled out here. I didn't pick up anything at the moment. Could you just remind me what the Garden City Group does? I take it it's not a matter of promoting rooftop gardens or something like that.
I'm going to invite Mr. Burke back up here to answer that question.
You might have mentioned it, but I didn't hear it.
I didn't mention it. Great question. So we are a legal settlement administration firm, basically working with courts, plaintiffs' lawyers, defense lawyers, specific companies for mass tort, class action, bankruptcy. Good?
Very good.
Was that?
Yep, that'll do it. Is that all, Mr. Maurer? Okay. Any further discussion? Ann?
Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
Mr. Lucklider?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Vice Mayor Gerber?
Yes.
Ms. Salee?
Yes.
Mayor Keenan?
Yes, thank you. Okay, ordinance 11-15.
Authorizing provision of certain incentives to Arisur Inc. to induce it to locate an office and associated operations and workforce within the city, authorizing execution of an economic development agreement.
Ms. Gilliard?
Hello. So, Airser, is a newly formed administrative company. This would bring 18 jobs to Dublin, growing to 24. We have before you an incentive that is a $10,000 location grant and a 10-year, 10% performance incentive. This is tied to them purchasing a facility in the city of Dublin. And this evening I have Ross Youngs here. He's one of our serial entrepreneurs in town, Dublin resident. He's the chairman and founder of Biosortia Pharmaceuticals. They are one of our deck tenants, and Ross tends to start up a lot of companies and have great success. And this is going to be the shared services operation that will oversee a lot of those smaller startup companies that he is so fond of, as are we. And so I'd like to invite him to the podium to talk a little bit about Airser. They will be doing business in Dublin as shareservices.us.
Very good. Mr. Youngs?
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the company. Shareservices.us is the DBA of Airser Incorporated. And essentially what it is it's going to be doing a service side of marketing, sales, also payroll, accounting, and purchasing, so a wide variety of services for a number of our companies, which includes, in the tech deck, we have Biosortia Pharmaceuticals. Out in Marysville, we have Univenture, we have Unikeep, NVPAC, PacZen, and then there's a couple other smaller entities that we'll do share services for. At this present time, all of our services are for our own companies that we have control of. As we get very good at running those services for those companies, we look to expand either by bringing other companies into our fold, either as investments or potentially providing some services. But right now, the foreseeable future, we look to be just our own shared services. And it looks like that the building we did purchase itself is on Tuller Road, so we're happy to be moving to Tuller Road shortly, and it looks like we're actually going to start the operation with about 20 people. I think we'd originally said something of a smaller number, but we are going to start out with 20 people. And then prospects look like we could expand the company as time goes on. I am a long-term Dublin resident. I moved to Dublin in 1986, and the Airser name, my wife has had a fit about. She's actually originally from Dublin, Ireland, and quite frankly, she wants to pronounce it Ars, which is in Ireland, let's say, the posterior part of a human anatomy. So she has a fit about that, so we're using shareservices.us as the DBA.
That seems prudent, yes.
It seems prudent, but there is the Irish connection. How do you like that? Is there anything I could answer?
Council, any questions? No, congratulations. We appreciate your.
Thank you, and I appreciate the help.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Maurer?
You may have mentioned this, but I didn't catch it, though. I don't think you did. You say that you have a company, you serve in the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center, and you serve two companies outside of Dublin in Central Ohio. Did you mention those companies?
It's multiple companies. It's actually Univenture in Marysville,
Yeah.
Unikeep, it's PacZen, and it's NVPAC, and then there was a couple other smaller LLCs. The other thing that I failed to mention that I should have mentioned is when we did our search, we looked hard about staying in Marysville. We looked at multiple sites inside of the city of Columbus and in Hilliard, and in the end, I think it was the assistance from the city of Dublin that helped us choose to go ahead and buy a building right here in Dublin.
Yeah, okay, good. Don't get the impression I've got any power. I don't have any.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Maurer. All right, any other council questions or discussion? Nope, hearing none. Ann?
Vice Mayor Gerber?
Yes.
Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
Ms. Salee?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Mr. Lucklider?
Yes.
Mayor Keenan?
Yes. All right, first reading, ordinance 13-15.
rezoning 3.3 plus or minus acres located on the northeast corner of the intersection of Emerald Parkway and Bright Road from R1 Restricted Suburban Residential District to SO Suburban Office and Institutional District. And we do need an introduction on this. We don't have it.
Introduce it.
Thank you. Mr. Langworthy?
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm representing, I feel a little bad if it's two great videos and I just have this PowerPoint.
That's all right. We're good, sir.
This is a rezoning for an R1 district, currently R1 district, to an SO suburban office at the northeast corner of Emerald Parkway and Bright Road. It shows the location with the property lines inserted. You can see where the former locations of Emerald Parkway came down Bright Road. But I made this little graphic up for you too. This is looking westward, and with Sawmill Road to our back and Riverside Drive at the top, and our site at the lower right-hand corner here with the new Emerald Parkway in place. The history of this particular area with the Community Plan 1997. Community Plan 1997 at that time didn't really designate a future land use designation. It's and it was pretty uniform through the time where they were existing. They called future land use as well, so they can changes to the uses there. And then we began our plan up in 2007, ultimately approving it in 2007. There was a council change to the Bright Road future land use to neighborhood office. It actually came from the Planning and Zoning Commission, a residential nation, and council discussed that and decided to that changed future land use for office. And that plan ultimately was approved and plan was updated. The neighborhood office and institutional future land use designation has sites located near residential areas, uses transitions and buffers, has pretty low lot coverages for the most part, and densities are low at about 9,500 square feet of office area or use area per acre. So you can see the site is designated there just off Emerald Parkway and Bright Road and northeast corner as neighborhood office and institutional. Bright Road area plan was also drawn up, of course, as part of the 2007 area plan or community plan. That also carried forward the future land use designation for the neighborhood office and institutional, and you can see that designation located there. There were no, actually no plans drawn out for this area, just simply the land use designation was marked as it's shown. Both Planning and Planning and Zoning Commission evaluated this site based on its future land use designation and based on the compliance with both future land use community plan and the area plan. And Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended approval to City Council, as does Planning. Be happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions? Hearing none.
Just real quick.
Yep,
Mike,
go ahead.
The conditional use and the future use of this is not tied in any way to this reason?
No, the conditional use is under the purview of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Thank you.
That's scheduled to come to Planning and Zoning?
March 12th.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, if not, there will be a second reading and public hearing on this matter on March 9th, at the March 9th council meeting. All right, we have a number of ordinances. I'm going to move that we introduce ordinances 16-15 through 21-15, suspend council rules of order in order to consider ordinances 16-15 through 21-15 together. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. On the motion?
Mr. Lechleiter?
Yes.
Mayor Keenan?
Yes.
Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Ms. Saleh? Vice Mayor Gerber?
Yes.
Okay.
And these ordinance 1615 is River Park Group LLC, 6400 Riverside Drive. 1715 is Karen Michelle R. Friedman for 6310 Riverside Drive. Ordinance 1815 is Rivers Edge 1, 6371 Riverside Drive. Ordinance 1915, Patrick W. Heitzman, 6332 and 6350 Riverside Drive. Ordinance 2015 is Four Fives LLC, 6300 Riverside Drive. Ordinance 2115 is MR/TSARR Owner LLC, property at 4305 to 4335 West Dublin Granville Road. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Callahan.
Good evening, council members. The city is preparing to improve the intersection of State Route 161 and Riverside Drive with the goal of providing for safer and more efficient intersection. As a part of the project, a shared use path will be built on the east side of Riverside Drive. If you look on the screen, the intersection's up at the top of the screen, and the path will be built on the east side of Riverside from the intersection heading south to a connection or a path that's already existing at Martin Road. City must obtain property interests from these property owners in order to build the project. We're hopeful that we can reach agreement with the property owners. However, these ordinances authorize the Law Director's Office to proceed with eminent domain in the event that we aren't able to reach agreement with these property owners. Staff recommends approval of ordinance number 1615 through 2115. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Megan. Council?
We made initial contact with these individual property owners?
Yes, we have. Yeah, there have been multiple contacts.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Maurer?
I do not know whether I am in order or out of order on this. If I'm out of order, I'll be told that very quickly. I don't know any of these 6 persons or entities. They don't know me. We haven't sought each other out. As an outside, I think, objective U.S. citizen, and incidentally, I'm also a Canadian citizen. I'm a dual citizen. It seems to me that invoking eminent domain here is ruthless and immoral. Paying them the appraised value of the land is woefully inadequate. They should receive an amount which would pay for uprooting them from here to settle in, say, the Bridge Street corridor. That, I think, would be fair and exemplary and would show that Dublin is a good, great city.
Well, I appreciate that perspective. The only thing that I would add, particularly as it relates to this one, is that we work very proactively with our residents relative to those kinds of purchases, especially when it has a significant impact on their property. In this case, what I would offer is that these purchases that are presented before council tonight are primarily easements in the form of permanent and temporary easements for the purpose of construction. So the impact on the property is relatively minimal at the end of the day. I mean, the easement area looks pretty large on the map relative to any built structure, but at the end of the day, it's not a full taking of that property. That property will remain relatively uninterrupted, except for during the course of construction. So, but we do have cases where we will build roadway and significantly impact a property, and I think we've had great success in relocating people in those cases and buying the full property when a roadway adjacent to a home would be relatively intolerable. So, but that would not be the case, I don't believe, in this particular situation.
Oh, so they will remain there?
Yes, they will. Nobody's been.
Oh, I was unaware of that. I thought it's to dig them out and get them out.
No, the structures don't get impacted.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, there you have it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to dispense with the public hearing for these ordinances and treat as an emergency.
Very
Second.
good. Thank you. On the motion?
Mr. Peterson? Ms. Saleh? Vice Mayor Gerber?
Yes.
Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
Mayor Keenan?
Yes.
Mr. Lechleiter?
Yes.
And on the ordinance, please.
Mayor Keenan?
Yes.
Mr. Lechleiter?
Yes.
Ms. Saleh?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gerber?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? And Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We have Resolution 25-15. We need an introduction.
Authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement with Metro Data Center, expanding the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center at 565 Metro Place, South Suite 190.
I'll introduce it.
Thank you. Ms. Gilger, you're busy tonight.
Hey, I am, and it's all good news. We're out of room
Uh-huh.
at the deck, and that's a good problem to have. With over 100 companies up on the third floor, and several that are growing, but not quite yet ready to to completely spread their wings and fly, we are looking for some expansion space in the existing building where the deck is located at 565 Metro Place South. There is an empty suite on the first floor. It's a little over 5,000 square feet. It would provide us with expanded room for training. Many of you have been to the existing training room that is on the first floor right now. This would give us a second room about 2/3 of that size to expand all of our free programming that we offer to deck tenants and to the entrepreneurial community for free. This will also give us access to a kitchen area and help defer the cost of the new office spaces that would be associated with this suite by helping cover the cost of all the common areas, conference rooms, and the like. So this is a resolution for a lease agreement, and the commitment fee would be $80,000, and it would be each year for 3 years, so it would expire and align with our existing deck lease that we have up on the third floor and the first floor training room. There is a drawing that shows the layout in your packet to show the new training space that we would receive. The access would change to our existing training space so that you could actually enter it right off of the main lobby instead of having to go down a long service hallway. So it does also help with the wayfinding for our guests. And what it would also do is increase the number of offices. The first floor offices would be rather large compared to what exists right now on the third floor. So companies that are ready to hire the second, third, fourth employee can move downstairs, have a much bigger office, and accommodate more people in a larger space, which then would start that domino effect and allow for many spaces to open up on the third floor for more of the single employee startup companies. So it would have a domino effect of being able to get many companies into the third floor as well as growing companies onto the first floor.
Very good. It's, I had an opportunity to go through the complete area of the deck, and including the data center, and it's quite impressive. They're clearly out of space. I think you have a waiting list as it stands.
We do have a waiting list with about a dozen companies on it, and this agreement would be structured very similarly to the third floor. We are working with Metro Data Center, again, who is our partner on the third floor.
It's an impressive facility. They have very high tech. Even the kitchen area with the vending activities, I think, take a thumbprint.
Yes, they do.
And it's an honor system after you thumbprint in, but there's many cameras, as I understand it, to also
Very high tech.
monitor that. So,
Mike, you're right. In fact, I'd encourage everybody from City Council to go, if you haven't been out there, to go out there. It's absolutely impressive. When you think of startup companies, you think of, something real simplistic and, chances of it taking off, maybe, 1 in a million, something like that. But actually out there, there's a lot of rather sophisticated things going on. And, from IT things to, we talked to a gentleman the other day that's doing some polymers and some other things that are rather sophisticated. Also, there's companies out there that are dealing with people overseas. So it's fascinating. And Chaz does such a great job. It's enthusiastic, and you walk in there and, you really feel the action. And it's fantastic that we're blessed to be able to do something like this in this community, as far as I'm concerned.
very good. Any other council input, questions? If not, Ann?
Ms. Salee? Yes. Mayor Keenan?
Yes.
Mr. Reiner?
Yes.
Mr. Lechleiter?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Vice Mayor Gerber?
I guess.
All right, get after it. Get it expanded. Okay, that brings us to other, I guess. Is there other, or do you just go right into staff comments?
I have no staff comments. I think we did justice enough in putting a lot of other information in the package, so happy to answer any questions you might have about that, but I have nothing new to add. Thank you.
Okay, that would bring us to council committee reports. Finance is not here. Does anybody want to fill in for finance? Is there anything there?
No.
John, do you have anything public, is it public services?
No, nothing more than to remind us that we have an upcoming meeting on the 4th of March, 6:30.
Okay.
It's community development.
Community development? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we don't have anything in public services, or we do?
That's Amy.
Well, that's Amy.
Yeah.
Amy?
Actually, we have a meeting tomorrow evening to talk about the 4th of July. We're going to discuss both the changes for the tables, potential changes for the Independence Day event, and then also someone from police. I believe the chief is going to be here to talk about traffic, how we handle traffic post and pre and any changes they might have in mind, just because that was suggested, that's also an element that we get questions about.
And as you know, Chief, we've heard a lot about traffic coming out of the 4th, so I'm sure we'll be working on that as well. Planning and zoning?
That's me too.
That's you too.
I'm very busy. We had a really great training for the Planning Commission last Thursday in lieu of a regular agenda meeting. Went through sort of the history of the Bridge Street corridor and how we got to where we got, and it was about 2.5 hours, but it was great to, I obviously was very well aware of everything, but it was good to hear it again, how we figured out that this was a direction that we should take and came to the various decisions. And I know that the new planning commissioners very much appreciated the opportunity. They all said that they really had a great understanding, so I think the mission was successful from their standpoint in terms of getting their education on Bridge Street, so I appreciate staff's effort with regard to that.
Very good. Council roundtable. Mr. Peters? Nothing? Amy?
I don't have anything, thanks.
Thank you. Tim?
Yeah, I attended the US 33 Innovation Corridor meeting this afternoon. The focus was transportation, and Jeannie Willis and Paul Hammersmith attended. Jeannie made a presentation. There was another transportation-related presentation made, and Dana also attended. And anyway, continues to be a good discussion. So stay tuned for more developments. Also, over the weekend on Saturday, I took the opportunity to ride with our snowplow operators, and thank you to staff for allowing me that opportunity. I've long wanted to have that perspective from sitting inside the cab and seeing what that was all about, and have an even greater appreciation for what our staff does and the entire operation, from those that, make up the schedules and so forth. Certainly I've always appreciated the service that I receive as a resident in my street being cleared. But I got the opportunity to see close up, the skill and dedication of these drivers, of the men and women, that do this work, and the great pride that they take in their work. In some respects, they're really artists in terms of, how they plow the streets and the neighborhood streets and so forth. But I think the public, I believe that the public, generally speaking, is appreciative of the service that's provided. And like so many things, our staff, I think makes it look effortless. They're long shifts. Imagine in your own car going out in those conditions and driving, let alone being in a multi-ton vehicle with a 10-foot blade on it, in the dark, with snow falling and so forth. So I hope people do appreciate. I know there's frustration with the winter weather that we've been experiencing. I know there's frustration with, if you've shoveled your driveway and, the snowplow comes along and there's snow, at the bottom of the apron and so forth. I'm just telling you, if you're in one of these trucks, I mean, if you really want your street cleared within 24 hours, it's not really possible, to make sure that there's not some residue of snow, particularly in a heavy snowfall, at the bottom of your driveway. I know personally I'm just grateful to have my street cleared. But, maybe people, not everyone, maybe, somebody has a physical infirmity that prevents them from doing that. I guess I would say to people, go out and, be a good neighbor and help out your neighbor if that happens to be a problem. But give these folks, these drivers, a wide berth. Don't pass them. Don't cut them off. They're doing the best that they can. They're doing it in service to us. I think we should all be grateful if you get the opportunity. You're standing out shoveling your driveway. Give them a wave. They appreciate that. Having said all that, I really hope we can get these blades off these trucks here sometime in the next month.
Yeah. Agreed. Thank you, Tim. I noticed you did more than just an hour or so. It looked like you did 2 5-hour shifts, or there were 2 different shifts anyway you were part of.
I think they wanted me to have a real experience.
Well, that's a...
You know, the reality is that when I set out, you know, early Saturday morning, I didn't think that I would have that long of an experience. But they don't come back to the garage, you know? I mean, these folks are, I mean, you know, maybe you think, you know, that they're coming back to the garage and, you know, having a break and warming up and so forth. You know, they bring their coolers into the cab and, you know, they're eating on the run, so to speak. And, you know, thank goodness I had some, you know, brought along a few energy bars of my own because I was getting a little hungry too. So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, when we finally, the only reason I was able to go off the clock at 5 o'clock or after 5 o'clock was because the salt in the truck
ran out.
it was jamming up the spreader. That was the only reason we were going back, you know, because he needed to take, you know, a shovel or a bar and break it up. Otherwise, we wouldn't have come back. And so, you know, I was grateful and, you know, and I think they thought that, you know, maybe I wasn't quite as dedicated because I wanted to get out of the truck. I said, you know, 11 hours, I'm about ready to go home. Thanks.
Well, a lesson well learned for all of us, and we contemplate maybe doing the same thing. John?
No, I just want to thank Paul Hammersmith for the Avery Muirfield Drive and Tullamore Drive intersection improvements. I think that was probably the most confusing traffic point in the entire city and really dangerous with the cars chicaning over. So I think your program's great, and the signs are going to work, and we can get that fixed. So thank you. It's a shout out. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
Very quickly, I attended the Business First Power Breakfast back on February 11th, and I hope we have a tape of this because Dana McDaniel just absolutely knocked it out of the park. I mean, he absolutely did, and actually Terry did as well. But well received. You know, I don't think. Did you have any notes? I mean, you're very animated, and I mean.
Once you get me on a roll, look out.
Don't start him up.
If you weren't from this area, he would have convinced you that you should be from this area. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic. And it made me very proud, Dana, to not only serve on the city council, but also to be a resident here in Dublin. It was just well received. Everybody I talked with, be that business person to just somebody there to watch, they all said the same thing. So, wow, we are very fortunate to have a city this vibrant, and certainly a city manager who's so optimistic and leading the charge. So,
I appreciate that. And I just want to since you brought it up, give a shout out to the staff for all the great support and queuing Terry and I up for that. And they coached us well and got us ready. So I can't take all the credit for that. And then also, we had 3 CEOs do a panel discussion, and I thought it was just awesome that we had George Barrett from Cardinal Health, and we had Scott White from IGS Energy, and then Dr. Bill Burke from Ohio University College of Osteopathic Medicine. I thought they did a great job as well, and really just want to publicly say, you know, to them, thanks so much for coming out and telling the Dublin story. It's pretty powerful when you have those folks of that caliber up there talking about the city. So.
Yeah, and it was. And those gentlemen did a fantastic job, too. And it was not only citing that our excellent schools as a reason to locate here, but also talking about you know, our housing stock, the quality of our life, our services, and it was a very, very well received event.
Yeah, I heard from a neighbor actually Sunday out finishing the driveway off who was walking by and made the comment that he was at the breakfast or the presentation and really had a lot of really good things to say how really well done it was. So it sounds like it was a broad brush across the community, not only Dublin, but Central Ohio, that really thought you did a nice job, and Terry as well. So thank you. Is that it, Rick? That's all. So I spent some time at DEC, presented a proclamation over there and met with the group. There was a very large group, and I thought at first they were there to see me, but I found out that they were giving away chicken wings. And that probably was a big reason for the big turnout from Buffalo Wild Wings, I believe, was the sponsor. So That went well. I got to take another look at the deck. I met with the Taiko drum group earlier yesterday. I also met with the Deputy Consul General from Japan, was in my office last Thursday. This is anticipation of the upcoming trip to Japan. I know Colleen's going to be involved with that as well, with, although that year with 2020 and the Columbus Partnership as a separate aside. The council knows that I was invited as mayor to go to Japan at the request of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the invitation came from the Consul General in Detroit, who oversees this area. Interestingly, we found out that we have the largest Japanese population of any city in Ohio, bar none. Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, right here in Dublin. I think there's over 2,000 residents. So this is an economic development trip. There'll be a number of items on the agenda. It doesn't look like there's much room to take a breath of fresh air along the way. We'll be touring the Honda plant, Mr. Hidaka USA here in Dublin. We'll be seeing the counterpart facility in Japan, the Hidaka facility there, among other things, a trip to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the U.S. Embassy as well. So that'll all be interesting. It's 8 days out of schedule. Dana had urged that it was a rare invitation, one that we should accept to enhance those relationships. So I'm glad to represent Dublin on that, although it is a 14-hour air flight, which I'm not looking forward to. But with that, unless there's anything else to come before the good of the cause, we'll stand adjourned.